you don't realize how fast your life is passing by you, you know.
Yeah.
And then that's the thing, it's your life, so you kind of have to like kind of break apart. And you don't want to like, I don't want to hate tattooing, you know. It's not a job for me. It's like it's
You're
not
so
a,
blessed that you get to
not a
do that.
job,
You're
you
you're
know what
so
I'm saying? Like
blessed that you get to be
I'm an
there.
artist, so it's like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's not, it's like what you're doing right now. It's like you're doing this because you're loving this, you know what I'm saying? Like you're not doing this because you didn't get forced to be like, yo, you're gonna be talking on this shit. You chose that you like the way this feels, right? You chose that you like to talk, you like to know what the fuck I'm thinking, or you want me to talk to, or whatever it is that you think about it. But you wasn't forced. The lady didn't say, yo, you better go over there and start talking.
You better get out that shit and start talking to people.
You better start talking about.
You better start doing this shit. Hello and welcome to the Vinny Brusco Show podcast. I hope you've been enjoying the show so far. Do me a favor, subscribe, rate, and review to the show wherever you get your podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you're watching the show or listening to the show. Spread some love, tell a friend, and click that subscribe button, the notification button, the bell on the bottom, baby. Click away. Help out and spread the word and tell a friend. As always, thank you very much. This week's episode, I'm joined by Keith Hernandez. Keith has been voted one of New York City's top 25 tattoo artists and works at the world famous Bang Bang Tattoo Studio in New York City. On top of being a tattoo artist, Keith is also a father, a husband, and a staple in the community, having tattooed over the last decade. Keith's work can be seen on athletes, actors, actresses, social media influencers, and it is not a tattoo you can mistaken for anybody else's work. Keith specializes in portrait work, and his work is hyper real. It is crazy how good it is. Keith and I got into a cornucopia of conversation, everything from realizing his talent and God-given gift at a young age, the different jobs he worked, taking that leap of faith and trusting in himself, and his process of tattooing and what actually goes through his mind. And pretty cool, Keith and I actually broke down a few of his tattoos that he's done. So I hope you enjoy this episode number 449 with Keith Hernandez. Enjoy.
Hey, this is Keith Hernandez, and check me out on the Vinny Brusco Show.
And here we go.
You have a man cave?
No, I wish I did.
No.
But I got my stuff ready. Like I got my bobbleheads I've been collecting, my little jerseys here and there.
That's it.
My little things. So when I get one of these little spaces like this, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Little stuff I collect.
I try to make it not too man cave-ish. Like I
Yeah.
try not to make it like, oh, it's a man cave.
Well,
Because then,
you definitely don't make that cake because you don't got like the sports stuff where you feel like you.
well, that's the other thing. I got the TV I just added. I just added the TV, and I don't watch games or anything like that in here. I just try to make it more about like, you know, the actual conversation and more about this type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, I always tell people it's like, it's kind of like being inside of my brain. Like I feel like this is like being inside of my
I
brain.
just want to talk out loud now.
I just love it. I love being in here.
Yeah,
Like
honestly,
it's just
I understand exactly what you're saying because you stay so in your head that you're like, sometimes I just want to speak out loud. You just don't want to sound dumb.
right.
So you're like, let me just do it.
I assume tattooing and like having the shop and the setup kind of has that same kind of like, you have your own little space within a space that you're like, it kind of creates like you, it's like, it allows you to get into like that flow state of like creating and allows you to kind of like embrace that kind of energy.
Like in a shop, like exactly what you said. Like when you get to your little space, you kind of get into it. It depends on what you do, you know. Like for example, I like to smoke right before I do anything.
Yeah.
So before I even get into
Before I do anything.
before I do anything,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta smoke. So it makes it easier for me because now I'm like flowing with everything. I'm flowing with the customers, the ideas, how they want things done. So you know, it's a way of zoning in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this space, there's this thing called morphic resonance by Rupert Cedric. And he says that like spaces have an energy, right? Like
Yeah.
it's the reason why like a prison cell feels different than a nursery, right? Like, so spaces have a vibe and an energy. And I honestly, like when I started doing, like when I first moved here, I was like, yeah, that shed's going to be something. I didn't know what it was, but I knew it was going to be something.
So it was here already.
The shed was here already. And the space, like, I was like, it's going to be something. And I kind of tried to force this or force that. And then
if I had this, I would have probably never been in the apartment.
you'd make this
My
your
lady
tattoo
would probably kick
shop.
me out. Oh yeah, I could have done something like that. But then, man, I wouldn't want to overwork myself. Imagine having a tattoo shop in the house.
That'd be sick.
You never want to go out.
Yeah,
That's one of the worst things about the whole thing with COVID. It's like the idea of going out, meeting new people, and everything is what makes it fun.
right.
You know, like tattooing. When you tattooing, you're not tattooing the same person every day. Like when you walk in the office or whatever, you actually seeing a different person every day.
Yeah.
You hear the whole story. They talk about this. They talk about that. You talk about them. Before you know, you built such a bond in those hours that you don't even realize how fast you could do that.
Yeah.
Where it's like sometimes you know people forever, and you wouldn't like, yo, this me and this guy has so much in common. Before you know, this guy walks in. He builds a bond with my clients. I have clients that come back to me and they ask for him.
Right.
It's your boy Jay. He coming through, and I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. This is crazy.
But everyone has their guy, right? Like you have your barber, you have your tattoo artist, you have that guy that you refer people to, that you trust, that you bounce these ideas off of. And if you go to them and you trust them with certain things, like a tattoo, which is, obviously for a lot of people, especially the work that you do, for a lot of people is very, connected and very sentimental. It's on you for, in theory, your entire life. Yeah. You're gonna put a certain effort into that, and that connection with someone's gonna be different than just a regular run-of-the-mill conversation.
Especially like the style that I do, the fact that I do like a lot of portraits,
right?
Because the portraits is, for the most part, is meaningful to the person, because they're getting like they're someone who passed, or their kid, right, or whatever it is,
right?
But it's a portrait, so it's like you could get all types of tattoo, and you'd be like, oh, I love this style. But it doesn't have meaning because of the style. If something, it could just be a cool tattoo where it's like you could have no tattoos and just get one of a portrait because it's a portrait.
Right.
You could like not even like tattoos, but for some reason, but like I just need a portrait of this person who passed. Like I have 74-year-old people. A guy, one of my clients, he's like 74. He never had a tattoo to just recently, where now he's getting his grandkids tattooed on him and stuff like that. So he wasn't big on the tattoo world, but is a portrait, so it's like meaningful at all times.
Yeah, I mean, my tattoos, I try to go with meaning, right? Yeah. For the most part.
I don't.
Do you?
Nothing.
No?
Yeah, well, for the most part now, I just get like stuff that means, like, for example, I just got tattooed by Mo Williams,
right?
The kid,
of course, of course. So how can I not? My daughter wanted to meet you just because of him. No offense. Okay, so she was like, I want to meet him. I was like, you're going to bed. You're going to bed.
People be like, oh, you don't get starstruck, and I really don't get starstruck or nothing like that. But it was cool to meet the.
How did you meet him?
So it's funny because the way I met him is the way the whole social media thing works, right? It's like it's and he's a big connecting person. Like he feels like he's the energy just like that, like everyone. Well, not everyone, but for the most people. But he, like the connects, the dots just connected. It's the reason we did we are all connected as well with his idea of the tattoos. But anyway, how I met him was that I was like reading one of his books to my kids. My oldest was actually reading to me. It was a while back. My oldest was reading to me, right? So I tagged him, and
There's you and Mo right there.
Yeah, that's me and Mo. Yeah,
which is amazing.
Yeah, this guy's so cool. So cool. And even him, he just got, that was his first tattoo ever. I did on him. And before that, he never even had a tattoo, right? So anyway, so I tagged him in like a book that I was reading to my kid. My son was reading to me, actually. I keep saying I'm taking credit for his
steal a kid's credit for his reading abilities.
It's crazy how I'm stealing his credit, right? He reads better than me. So anyway, so he hits me back up like, oh, it's amazing how you actually DM me, because I don't have no tattoos ever, but I thought about a tattoo that I recently wanted because of a piece that he's working on, a project that's called We Are All Connected.
Right.
And it's where he's like, he does these dots and he connects the dots, and each dot means something, like I believe he was Team Yellow, my family, because he ended up doing a whole thing at the Kennedy Center in DC. So anyway, I just skipped the whole story. I don't even remember how I led to this.
No, we're talking about Mo Williams. You DM'd him and he was reaching out. It's okay. We're fine.
I just,
because you said about being starstruck, and that you don't get starstruck, and then Mo Williams came up.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm like, oh man, this guy right here, and I'm like, it's crazy how he writes all these books that my kids love, and that's the only, because my kid, I tattoo. My kids are 6, and they don't even know why I do.
Right.
They don't know how cool it is.
Right.
I be asking my son sometimes, hey, you want a tattoo when you get older? No. I'm like, damn. So I get it.
That would be kind of a cool thing to do. Like I had my daughter on the podcast. We did a podcast together.
That was so cool.
And it's something I love. Obviously, I love doing this, and it was cool to kind of connect with her in the world of something I love to do. So I imagine tattooing your kid one day would kind of be trippy in some way, right?
I think it'll be cool. I will hope that when he wants his first tattoo, I will.
You're like, no, Dad, your skills aren't up to par.
Imagine he'd be like, you didn't shoot that.
What happens if he wants to tattoo you on him? That would be like an Inception thing, like you tattooing you on your kid.
Well, I always tell my lady, like, you should get a tattoo of my face, but you know, I don't mean that I wouldn't want to see myself. But who knows? I don't know. It would be cool, right? Imagine I'll be tattooing my own self on my son.
That's like Inception.
That would probably be like my highlight, like LeBron playing with his son.
Right. Or Ken Griffey Jr., where him and his father both hit home runs in the same game.
Yeah. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Because that's how it was even when I was growing up. I played a lot of baseball, and my brother and my dad, he was always the one that come around and like pitch to. My dad would come out of work and like pitch for both teams or stuff like that, right. The kids hit. And it was pretty cool. Like that little bond where we had where he was like, my dad was everybody's dad. And it was like everybody was so cool with him, and he was just one of the guys. So I think that would be like that level where I'd probably be cool enough to tap myself, because I'm not cool right now. Like I ain't it.
I think you're pretty cool. So you connect with Mo Williams, you DM him, and he reaches out and he's like, yeah, I've been thinking about getting a tattoo.
Oh yeah. So he's like, yo, I want to get a tattoo of these, we all connected. And then from there, he came to New York. And when he came to New York, I was like, man, this is dope. So I got to the point that he tattooed me.
Right.
He did his first tattoo on me. So these are the things that mean to me. Like, it don't have to be meaningful in a way that it just needs to look good. Like it looks perfect for me, even though it was like first done, like it was his first tattoo ever done. So it means something to me because forever is going to be that person who, wrote these books that my kids loved when I was a kid.
Right. And he did the pigeon on you.
The pigeon, yeah.
His famous pigeon. And the Piggy and Gerald, he, obviously created that. And yeah, my kids love him. You know what I mean? My kids love his books and love his stories. And yeah, it's classic, man. That is a moment where you say, like, it's almost like these full circle moments where you get to like sit with people that whether they inspire you, they inspire your kids, whatever it is, but like it's almost like surreal, right? It's almost like out of body. Where like this is kind of crazy.
It's like so real, but it's also you enjoy the blessing. You enjoy that what I do led to something like this, where it's like he meets this person who's like the author of the book, or in a different way. It don't have to be that. It could be anything. Like even for example, how we met, right?
I
went from buying a car. Not buying a car, leasing a car. I guess you knew.
Right. So yeah.
And then we started talking to the whole thing, and now we let here.
Right. No,
those little dots that connect lead people into other ways or stuff like that. Or you guys me, or he or me, a friend of mine. And then we become actually how we met. I met him from one of my clients.
Right.
And we became friends, like best friends, basically from a client that came to get tattooed by me like 6 years ago. Whatever.
Right.
And it's weird, but that's how connection works, That's why you gotta always just have it out there and like just vibe out.
Yeah, I think that's the other part of it is having conversations with people and like meeting people where they are and having those conversations about things like, what do you do? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm a tattooer. It's like, oh, where about? You're like, Bang Bang. I was like, if you went to anyone else in this entire place and you said I work at Bang Bang, no one knows. No one has an idea where that is. Maybe like two other people I can think of. Like, oh, Bang Bang. I was like, oh, my sister has an appointment there next week. And I was like, yeah, I know Bang Bang. Of course I do. Yeah. So again, it's creating that human connection and hearing people out and hearing.
You said it too. Like it literally, no one else would have probably known Bang at the moment, at least,
Right.
I was there. It's like I went to you and you knew Bang.
Right.
Or whatever. It's not that no one knows Bang because people know, but certain people are not into tattooing or that world, so they don't know Bang.
Right. It's so like it's just knowing that's a world I'm into, right? Yeah. Tattoo artist and that type of vibe. So like when you said Bang Bang, I was like, yeah, of course I know Bang Bang. Like, of course I do. How did you get into tattooing? Like what led you down that road?
Well, drawing I was doing all my life, like drawing I was doing from when I was probably drawing before I was writing, it was one of those things that just came like natural to me. Like I didn't know drawing was a gift, Growing up, I used to thought I was good at art. Some people are good at math. Some people are good at reading. I was bad at everything else. So I figured that this was the subject I was good at. Like, oh yeah, you could read better than me, but I draw better than you. I didn't know it was like,
were you always like, I remember like there were certain kids, like I was a big fan of drawing too. Like I loved drawing as a kid and I was okay. Don't get me wrong. I was like, I'll show you some stuff later. I was okay. But there were like those kids that were just like, holy shit. Like they were above and beyond, that were just like detail oriented and just like when you watch them draw, you're like, holy shit, like this is this is a God-given gift. Like in hindsight, it's a God-given gift. Were you that kid where it was just naturally, or did you have to develop that?
No, I was that kid that was like, I was drawing good.
Yeah.
Not knowing that, there's people who practice to draw good, like they work hard to keep, and not that I didn't draw good like I just picked up and drew good. Like I just drew good for the moment,
Right.
Because if I look at any drawing right now, I'm probably
Right.
like, this ain't shit.
Right, of course.
But I was good enough that I understood like the dynamic of the body movement, or like stuff that made the drawing much better, or whatever. It even wasn't a body, it could have been whatever I was drawing. I was, that was the best. I was the best kid doing that.
Right.
So it was cool. It was like, all right, I probably failed math, but art I passed.
I'm gonna pass art.
And I didn't know that it was like, this is a gift. Like you should push onto this. I didn't start tattooing until I was like 26. Right. Where if I knew it was a gift, I would have probably planned my life better. Like after high school, I would have probably been like, I'm gonna go tattoo.
Right.
Like now there are 19-year-old tattoo artists that are killing it. They get in, they'll tattoo for like 1 year, and they're beasts. Where it's like, how the fuck you tat that good that fast? Right. Where it's like, I picked up at the level where it's like tattooing wasn't as big yet. So it was like, and not that I've been tattooing forever. I've been tattooing for like 9-10 years, maybe now. But it just hit like the very right when Instagram started, right when things started picking up. So it was like the perfect timing. Where if I would have probably started any sooner, it would have probably just been like more of a waste of time and a lot of errors more than good tattoos. Like I would have probably been, everybody would have been my guinea pig, and I've probably been shitting.
just spelling things wrong.
I spelled multiple things wrong. Thank God I did most of the bad spelling on friends of mine. So so it wasn't.
What do you do? What do you do if you spell something wrong?
You try to cover it with something else. like I remember I did a tattoo on one of my boys, Jermaine, like for my block. This is like he's seen me grow up, since I was a kid. So, and then from there, when I started tattooing, I was like renting a room that he had in his house. So he was tattooing like whatever. And I believe I would put like his son's date of birth, like I think it was like February or something like that. And I left like the U out, like we leave the U out in February. But we didn't notice for years. Right. One day.
February, in all fairness, February is a fucked up word to spell. Like it's like Wednesday.
And the worst part is that so back then we wasn't using computers to print things out. We was stenciling. So we were like, and I wasn't even a tattoo artist. Yeah, I bought a machine and I'm like fucking around.
You're doing like cantaloupes and shit.
Yeah, like I'm tattoo exactly. So it wasn't like I stay away from writing that. And when I do write, I make sure the client's there. Like give me everything. Like I want to read this, make sure everything's spelled because I don't want to be that person.
Yeah.
But to go back to that day, so then we tried stenciling from when he typed into the computer so we could like stencil it. So he did the typing wrong.
Right.
Misspelled.
Okay.
I
all right.
traced his misspelling.
Right.
But anyway, we didn't notice it until like a year later where he's just like, we're hanging out with some girls and his arm is up and she's like, you missed out a U in February, right? She told him.
Right.
And for some reason I'm there at the same day. So he's like, yo, Keith. and I'm like, yo, bro, it's not that bad. It's like a year later, right? Like,
right.
Leave it alone. He's like, now that I know that it's fucked up, I gotta change it. We did like some like a fucking, I don't know what we covered it with.
I would be like so when I got
I just left it.
Yeah, I probably would have at that point. But when I got my kids' birthdays done, it's in Roman numerals.
Yeah.
I checked that thing. I was just like, I would have.
It up?
No, it's right.
Okay.
They're all right.
Okay,
But I was going to my artist was like, I was going to Ralph and I was like, Ralph, just check that. And we were just like, yes, that's right. And I was like, all right, let me check again. Yeah, that's right. I'm like, just double, like 4 or 5 times because I was like, I'm not fucking up my kid's birthday. A spelling is all right. You can let it slide, but a birthday, it's a fucked up thing.
And the Roman numerals, things like switch, right? So it's kind of confusing.
Right. You switch them, like if you're doing 15, it's like, well, that would be X5, but then there's like another one where you'd have to switch it around.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like that. So if you don't do it right, you kind of like
you're committed to it.
Yeah.
You're committed to it being wrong. So you're a kid in school, you're doing, obviously you're above and beyond all the other kids in art.
Yeah.
When did you realize like I'm gonna go and shift this into tattooing? Were you doing other artwork? Were you doing anything else in the art world?
Later. And like I said, like it got to a point where I was just fucked up. This is past high school. This is like me trying to figure out what the fuck I'm gonna do in my life. Like I'm getting older with time and I'm not figuring nothing out. I didn't do college or whatever. So then of course I get fired from my job at Aldo. They kicked my
shoe place?
The shoe place, actually. I worked, that's where I met my lady at. That's how I met Cynthia at shoe place. It's funny how we met there too, but I like to jump around in stories. So let's go back to the tattooing. So when I got fired, I had like nothing, but I was cutting hair as well. So let's just give you a little glimpse.
Yeah, I got you.
But I was like, yo, bro, I gotta do something. And it's like at this point, I wanted to do something that I didn't want to work no more. Like I was tired of just working, like working for money. I wanted to do something that I wanted to do, like it was
Yeah.
like I want to do this. Like and then
The
I
stars
started cutting
aligned.
people's hair. And then from there, I was putting in people's ear, yo, I'm about to get my tattoo machine. When I get my tattoo machine, you're gonna let me tat you, right? And then it got like that. Then so I'm picking up my clients before I even tattooed. I'm
Right,
gassing
right.
in it, I'm cutting the hair, I'm doing shit. And then it's like this Spanish rap artist called Guy Trece came out at the moment too. So he had designs on his head. That was like the thing, like with the machine. So I'm over here doing like fire designs on people's head. I'm doing fucking army tanks on a. I did one of my boys' name is Frank the Tank. So whatever. So we put like an army tag in the back of his head, bro. That day, if Instagram was out at that moment, bro, I would have probably hit 1 million followers at that moment because it would have been crazy. Everybody on the block was like, bro, this is crazy. How you doing that with a fucking machine, like a barber machine? It got to a point that then I'm like, yo, when I get my tattoo machine, you guys gotta have to help me and believe in me. So I was tattooing for like a year or two, basically free, where I would just like make whatever money, like bullshit, $40-$50 here, whatever it did to pay rent for where I was staying. So I was barely making money. Then little by little, it picked up. Literally, I picked up the tattooing. Like, not that I got good. Like, I'm still think I'm always getting better.
Sure.
But I got good enough that I led me into a shop fast. Where a shop had reached out to me back. This is in the Bronx. This is when I was tattooing.
Yeah.
And they reached out to me like, man, your work is sick. What shop you work at? And
You're like, shop? What are you talking about? My barber shop. I'm cutting hair and like, tattooing.
Casa Zinc.
Right.
So then I'm like, yeah, man, I'm tattooing on my house. They're like, tattooing out your house. Now you got to come in here. So I went there. Then we started talking. But I didn't have my license at this time yet, my tattoo license. So, they just took me.
I didn't even know you need a tattoo license.
Doing your tattoo license. It have nothing to do with how good tattoo you are.
It makes sense.
It's more about the cleaning things. It's more about the health process, like the sterilizing I mean, no one even fucking use sterilized fucking needles anymore. At this point, you use disposable needles.
Right.
Use it once and throw it out. But I'm sure the test is still the same. Like I'm sure it's still the test from like 1996.
Right. You're watching videos like this is tattooing. It's like, please sterilize your needle. Like, who does that? Yeah. Right. It's so antiquated.
It was an episode on like Ink Master where they're like the artists have the very first episode. I don't know what season this was, but they had like I was like, thank God I didn't even try to do that season because I would have lost in the first episode. It would have been shitty. But they had to like build the machine. And I'm like, who the fuck built the tattoo machine anymore? This is not 1992. Like a machine comes set, and if anything, you should always have a backup. Like you said, well, if you didn't have a good machine, you wouldn't be able to tattoo. Like, nah, nigga, I would have had another backup machine. You're not gonna tell me I can't. I was like, yeah, I'm not meant for this show.
I think there'd be something kind of engrossing in kind of developing and building a tattoo. It's like gun aficionados. They're always kind of like taking apart their guns, cleaning them, and kind of going through that, like a connection to it. I was
like, I might need to learn how to clean. After that episode, I was like, bro, imagine I would have been on the show. They just got kicked out. You wouldn't even see me do a tattoo. Yeah, after that episode, I was like, shit, I gotta learn how to break on and put a tattoo machine together, even though I never did. I was like, it's fine. And now the tattoo machines now is such a like, it's like a cheat code. It's so smooth and easy. It doesn't even make noise.
Yeah.
It's like you're just chilling now.
Yeah. So you're tattooing, you get invited to the shop. When is like, are you all in at this point? Are you like, yeah, this is what I'm doing? Because you said like, I didn't know what I wanted to do. You're working at Aldo. Yeah. This isn't aligned with who you feel like you are.
Yeah, before I was always doing jobs. I was working at Aldo, and all my jobs were like 3 or 4 years. So it got to the point that it's like I'd never like left jobs fast. So when I did get tired of him, I was tired of them.
Right.
Yeah. So the best thing that happened to me was get fired by Aldo. Yeah. I feel like to this day I was just meant to meet my lady there, but I was definitely not meant to work in that.
Did you feel like when you got like fired from Aldo, was this moment of like freedom? Do you feel like
it was crazy, right? Because moment of freedom is moment of fear. Because now
those two usually go together.
Oh, that's true, right? It's like a balance. It's like, at this point, it's like I don't want to end up to be a nobody. Like it's like I was 25, I believe, or 26. And at the moment, now you look at 25 years, you're like, bitch, you're not supposed to know. Like now
you're a baby, right? Like in hindsight, like you're a fucking baby,
and
right?
I'm okay not knowing anymore.
Like, but that comes with age, right? That comes with age and experience and wisdom, and growth and development.
Patience. Like
patience.
You learn that, at 26, you're trying to like figure it out so fast that you don't realize you really never do figure it out. You get old, and most of the time you're not gonna figure it out, but you're gonna try to make it what it is, you know, and let it run what how it goes. But anyway, at that time, I'm like, bro, I'm fucked up. I got no money saved. I'm already this age, you know, I'm 26 or whatever, or 20, 25, 26, whatever I was at the time. I was like, bro, I'm gonna have to just hustle. Like I'm gonna have to figure it out and just work. I was selling like weed,
Right.
and with the weed money, I bought myself and the haircut money because I was only cutting hair like on weekends because I was doing the cutting hair, but like while I was working out though. So I
Right.
still was doing a little something, you know. I didn't leave in this and started tattooing. It was like slowly, the process was slowly going into the tattooing and cutting hair. So eventually, what I want to do is like, when I can't tattoo every day, I do want to open up like a tattoo barber shop where it's like a little.
So there you
side of
go.
it.
Full circle would be
Yep,
both of those
go right
worlds,
back.
bringing them
A
back
full circle
together.
would do
Would it
tattoo
go
barber
against the
shops in the Bronx?
Right? Would it be go against the sterilization process?
Well,
Yeah.
but I make sure with the world that we live in now, I definitely got to make sure I know all the rules
Oh,
and
forget
of
it.
everything. And that's
Right.
fine. That's good because you should, you know, you should try to figure out everything if you're gonna do something.
So you're tattooing in the Bronx. So when does Bang Bang kind of come into play with things? Like again, that's like
Well,
one of the
hopefully
most
he'll
premier tattoo
work with me.
shops on the planet.
Hopefully, when I bring this up, this will be the way I bring it up to a podcast, right? Think about it. No, but hopefully, when it gets to that point where I am gonna leave, we'll work on it. You know, we'll work it out. See how we're gonna tease down do a barber tattoo shop together. Or
Well,
something.
I meant you were in the Bronx. How did you transition to Bang Bang?
Okay. To go to Bang Bang, he hit me up. So in the Bronx, when I was there, I was working at the tattoo shop, right? And I was there for like 3 years or whatever. And my name started ringing bells in the Bronx. Like I was tattooing everybody. And then from there, it kind of started breaking out. I don't know how I got to Bank's ear, my name, but it did. And when it did, he reached out to me through DM. He was like, man, he started following me, right? And then he hit me up like, man, I love your work. And then from there, we talked. He told me he would like me to work for him in Bang. But I stayed at the Bronx shop because, you know, I had my lawyer there with them. At least for a year after that, I was like, fuck off. But,
well, you get opportunity, right?
Yeah,
and
that's another.
that's only going to come by so often, right? That's only going to come by so often. And the old expression is like, when you see the opportunity, chances are you already missed it, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's opportunity is also experience that you want. Like you want to see yourself grow. So it's like it's the opportunity to work at Bang, but it's also because it was either that or I was gonna go to Ink Master because I wanted to grow. As in, I wanted that was fine, like where I was in the shop, but I wanted to leave the nest. I wanted to see if I could survive in the tattoo world, like in an Ink Master show or something. And then when Bang hit me up, I was like, "Fuck this Ink Master show! I'm going to Bang."
Did you have the opportunity at the time to go on Ink Masters? Was that there?
They hit me up emails every year. They send me every year email for like, I think they send it to any artist.
And a lot of people, I think, would jump on that opportunity, right?
Yeah.
Like to get the exposure, to be out there. You know,
I
it
think
says
like
something.
The fourth time they emailed me, I was like, yo, I'm gonna fuck around and do this shit because I'm bored here. So I was thinking about it. Then that episode happened where they had to build the machine. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna go.
Let me hold off on this whole building machine shit.
Fuck that, I'm not going. Thank God I didn't go.
But again, the opportunity presents itself, and a lot of people probably would have jumped on that right away. But you had to kind of like, let me just kind of stay where I am, work on my craft a little bit.
Yeah.
In the tattooing, I mean, you've tattooed some pretty big people. What was that transition like? You're tattooing at Bang Bang. Who was the first athlete or celebrity that you tattooed? Because you've tattooed your fair share. I mean, you and I've had conversations off of this podcast where it's like, yeah, you live a very lavish lifestyle when you're tattooing this caliber of client. How did that kind of come about?
I don't know exactly how I got the first person in, but Odell Beckham was like a regular at Bang. He's one of the coolest people. Like besides the field, because you know, and on the field, people either you're a fan of him or you hate him, but in person, he's fucking humble as hell, cool as hell. So anyway, he was one of the first people at the shop that I met off like celebrity wise, and then from there you tap one and they just continue going, you know, people, it just spread. And Instagram, like I said, Instagram helps us so much because from there it hits the explore page or whatever, or however it gets to a certain celebrity, but they see it. And once they see it, they're like, yo, bro, I need a tap from you. Yeah. And then from there, just pass on.
I want to bring up just a couple of these because your work is really this like next level. So this is what you did for Vinny on Jersey Shore, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that looks good, right?
I mean, look at that, man.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Did he come up with that design, or is that something
he came up with the idea? Then we kind of work on his design together. Vinny, he likes he knows what he wants type of guy, you know? Right. So it's like he was like constantly sending me things about like how he wants his.
Is that annoying? Because I feel like when I was getting tattooed by my guy, I'd send him stuff like, oh, let's do this and that. Does that get annoying? Like and maybe not with him.
It could get annoying. It definitely could get annoying if you do it wrong.
Right.
He wasn't too annoying about it because I also feel like he knows that he could be annoying. I think
like I'm aware that I'm a fucking pain in the ass when you're tattooing me.
Like that. Like I think he was like,
maybe it's a Vinny thing.
Like he's probably like, I don't want to be annoying, so I'm not gonna keep on.
Yeah.
But he was also the way he actually gave me the idea. It kind of made it easier for me because it was like I kind of know what he was aiming for.
Yeah.
But it was so funny because this didn't come to be to like that moment.
Right.
So even with all the things we were sending each other and shit like that, that's why sometimes when people send me things, I'm like, all right. Because at that day, there's so many times you could plan something out, and at that day, that shit goes out the window, and then it's like it becomes this. So this was one of those things. But no, he knew what he was aiming for, and we ended up doing it.
And then obviously you have the Dark Knight here, which is like,
yeah, that looks good too.
They all look good. Listen,
let me see that one.
They all look good, man.
I never look at it this close, so it's kind of crazy because this is like this big. So
really,
to see it this big is crazy. How even when you zoom in this,
when you
think about it, it's like a forearm. So that head is like this big only.
So when you have something like that,
that's my guy Carlos.
When you have something like that, let's go back to Dark Knight real quick. And they're like, I want it to be this big, and you're like, it can't be that big. Like I can't do, like you hear that a lot with like tattoo artists, like, oh, it's too small. I can't, we can't go that small. It's gonna bleed out. It's not gonna look good over time.
I try to go big as possible to keep the piece to still look good. Cause I don't like to edit pictures too much. Like a lot of tattoos that is done nowadays are like, not that they edit. Let me not say Photoshop and try to.
You see that with haircuts. Let's just be honest. You see that with haircuts, like barbers.
The white line and shit. I'll be trying to tell you making my video, you spraying me with that black shit on my head. Like, don't do that shit, bro. Don't do that shit. Leave my bald spot.
You see that with beards and shit. I'm like, why are they doing that with the beard? They're always doing that with the beard.
I'm making out with a girl, now she got a mustache.
That's it.
Like, oh shit, what happened to this whole?
And obviously you got, that's amazing. I mean, look at that. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's sick. It looks good, Look at it from this fucking side.
This is
really good.
This is what a unique idea.
Yeah.
Who did you do this on?
Shit, I should know his name, right? It's one of my clients.
It's okay.
I don't know your name. Sorry. Kind of.
But what it like was
this
like?
This is like fucking 4 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. So I'm kind of like
look at the detail.
He kind of came up with the idea, and I was like, yeah, that's sick. And
like, look at the detail there.
At least I know the piece. I don't remember the client's name, but the piece is for his brother who passed.
It's beautiful. And again, it goes back to our earlier point of like the sentimental value, right?
And this is what,
and it's not a portrait.
This is his brother. You see, like this is his brother on the plane and in the jet, and this is fire. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sick.
This is cool. Like they'd be like, yo, my brother used to fly jets.
Right?
Like, fuck, I'm scared to get on a plane. I still fear myself getting on planes.
Unbelievable.
So you see, like what I meant about bigger, my style of work is a lot of negative, like hair space. I'm not trying to do every side of shade or whatever the fuck, however people do it. I leave open space. I think it looks really good. It heals good. The black is powering the open space. If you understand, what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Absolutely. So when you explain it like that, it makes sense. Like, you're not filling in every hair follicle
and look like this. Where it's like there's some
which is kind of
that's done with so much shading that when it heals, the gray kind of all like blends in.
Right.
So it kind of like don't look. So it's like I'm not trying to make this picture look perfect like the picture. I'm trying to make it look as perfect as it could look for a tattoo.
Right. So you take it, and is that like something that goes to like your brain? Like is that a filter that you have in your brain that you can just convert things to tattoos?
So there's a few artists that always ask me like, how the fuck? Because so I'm not one of the best artists. But I'm
when you say artist, do you mean tattoo artist, or do you mean like artists in general?
Artists in general, I'm definitely like nowhere near. But in tattoo world, I'm not even like up there. Like
you were ranked top 25 in New York.
Yeah, New York is New York.
That's a lot of tattaoo artists though, man. Like give yourself give yourself credit. That's a lot of tattoo artists. I'm not top 25 of anything. Maybe top 25 dads, according to my kids. But like, you know what I mean? Like, give yourself a little credit.
I'm gonna give myself a little credit.
All right, a little bit, just a little bit. Top 25 New York is a big deal.
Then I think about all the good artists, and I'm like, oh, I'm nowhere near. But back to the reason I said so. I would say like I'm the Lou Williams. You know who Lou Williams is in the basketball player? He's like the 6-man guy.
Okay.
So he's like every basketball player's favorite basketball player. So it's like the artist respects me. Like artists see my work,
which I think means more than just the general public, because your peers and the people that you look up to and the people you work next to are the ones admiring you. So that
Especially when
says a
they-
lot because they
when they-
know what's going on.
and they see it in person. When they
Right.
see it in person, it's almost like, oh shit. Like you could see this tattoo and think it looks really good as a picture, but if you see this tattoo and see it in person, it even looks better.
Right.
Like I feel like pictures never, like it never gives you the, like there's pieces that do amazing,
Right.
and I'm like, this shit is fire. Then when I
Right.
go take a picture of it or something, I'm like, fuck.
The
Like, this is so
the
trash.
infamous wipe off picture.
Yeah, like no, the whiteboard videos actually kind of
They look great.
because for some reason the videos kind of, I guess it's coming from a different angle, but pictures are just flat.
Right.
So it's harder to like, that's why I do a lot of the videos. Cause I feel like the videos you see more of how the tattoo really looks.
Sure.
The picture is more like, cause the video is almost like you're seeing it. You're seeing it from a person at 3D, like in the movement where it's flat and it's not gonna show, you know, the full value of how good this tattoo is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's kind of sucks.
That's
sometimes.
unbelievable. Like that
Looks good, too, man. Thanks for showing me my work.
Thank you for doing
I
your
gotta
work,
start doing
man.
that.
This I'm so like. Is you and Mo?
This guy's the coolest, bro. I want to be like him when I get older.
There's the tattoo you did on him, right?
That's the tattoo he did.
Imagine,
on me.
yeah.
Oh, that no.
Well, that's the one you did,
I
the
on him,
pieces,
and
right?
That was the one the day he was tattooing me. Yeah,
That's Mike Chernow. He was on the podcast. I had him
Yeah.
on.
it's good, dude.
Yeah, nice dude. I
You
mean
ever ate
that
you ate at one of his restaurants before?
I haven't.
No.
Seymour's and
Seymour's is so good.
yeah, yeah.
Meatballers is good.
Meatballers, yeah. I mean that is, and then you specialize in portraits. I mean, would you say that's like your lane, wholeheartedly?
Yeah, like I feel like not many artists like to do portrait anymore. I don't know why. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe it's just I just feel like more. But I feel like I love portraits. It's my favorite thing to do, especially like this is cool to do because he's a celebrity. So
Sure.
everybody know who's gonna be, so it's gonna get attention. But like I said, the tattoos that is for someone is always better because it's one of one.
Right.
Like if I do a portrait of someone's daughter,
No one else has that daughter.
and I'm never gonna do that one again.
Right.
So it gives me like it's almost like, you know, when you play video games or you watch the same movie twice, you know how it's gonna end.
Right.
So it's like, why am I watching this shit again?
Right.
Where it's like, this tattoo is the only one I'm gonna do. So I
gotta nail this fucking thing.
Yeah, that's it. And every time it's so, and since it's just one of one, it's almost like you're not bored. You're entertained. You're like, it's like a mission.
It's
to
so
accomplish.
interesting. Like this is why I love talking to people, because what you find in tattooing, I find in conversation.
Yeah.
Right. Like I find
exactly. Right?
I really do. Like I
Right.
find the nuance of conversation to be like the most outstanding thing on the planet. Like it's
Yeah.
my favorite thing to do. And it's funny to hear it from your perspective where it's like, oh, it's like a game. It's like this,
Mhm.
like I could see the process in your mind.
It's like a maze or because
It's a puzzle.
well, you got tattoos, so you know the blue.
Yeah.
You see the stencil, right? And when
Right.
you look at a stencil, you're like, "What the fuck is this?" So that alone is already like a puzzle. It's like I'd be like, "Oh, I put a stencil on someone," and I'd be like, "Go check it out in the mirror." They'd be like, "Well, I don't know what you see, but you do," you know. Like, and it's funny because like I kind of already see it. So like you said, like you're already playing the game in your head, dude. So that starts even before you do the tattoo, because even before you start doing the tattoo, you're looking at the stencil and you're like, "All right, so when I get to this point, I'm gonna do this to it. When I do this to it," so you kind of already giving yourself a game plan. It's almost like going into a boxing fight.
Right.
Well, I guess not even going into a boxing fight because like Mike Tyson said, you can go in with a plan. So you get punched in
Everyone
the
has a
face,
plan to get punched in the face, right?
You're like, oh shit.
So I want to ask you, so you said there is this transition that you do in your brain from the actual picture to the tattoo to make it more lifelike, or to make it more, I guess you could say, authentic, for lack of a better word. Like, what is that when you're looking at a picture? I'm just curious on like what's going through your eyes and going through your brain. We're like, all right, this is like.
So when you not only to finish up, not only when you're going through the picture, but also like when you're tattooing, because when you're tattooing, you want to make it look like the picture, but you also want to see what's gonna stay on the person's skin. Because even though it's on, it's on a light person right now, but even if the person's never white like a piece of paper,
Right.
People are like tan complexion, so it's no point of adding certain grays or certain spots that you don't need because their complexion is already.
It's gonna create that color
that illusion
naturally,
because
right.
a lot of it is illusion. You give it an illusion, like I gave it illusion that his face is this is the guy's face.
Correct.
Like if you look at him, that's his face color.
Right.
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 And even though it's on a person whose skin is so it's not. I'm not trying to make every wrinkle that he have on the. Can you move to the
No, I don't have it as that one. Yeah.
You kind of don't want to add like so much of the unnecessary stuff. Sometimes it's just passing the illusion. Like even with doing a chain, I didn't try to make every circle of the chain because
Right.
every circle of the chain is not to make it look like a real circle. What it's going to do is going to eventually lead in
Right.
and it's just gonna look crazy.
Right.
So you give it the illusion that it's so connected. At the little spots is kind of giving you what would you say, the pattern of the chain? I guess you say,
So so obviously creating these small black dots creates the pattern and the style of the chain.
Move back a little more now from the chain. Like even this corner right here, you see how it looks like when chains kind of tangle.
Right.
You know, like when it twists.
Right.
It got like the twist illusion where it's like, you know, it's not
perfect.
Not right. It's exactly. So I don't know. I don't know how to explain what I see.
No, I understand what you're saying.
But it's just I know not to overwork. And I think that's one of my biggest secrets of how I tattoo. So back to like that, this is what I'm gonna. So being from the Bronx, I tattoo darker skin most of the time. All my people are like Spanish, Puerto Rican, Black, whatever. So learning how to tattoo a darker skin is hard for a lot of artists.
Sure.
But since that was the first thing I kind of learned, tattooing any other skin made it so much easier.
Sure.
You know, because it's like there's artists. I'm actually known. That's one of the reasons why I probably top 25 artists in New York. Or was. I don't know if I'm still in that list.
I list you there, so it doesn't really matter. You're on my top 25. So
I think one of the secrets is the fact that I'm good with dark skin as well. So it's like a 50-50 clientele. So even tattooing this, I made this look good for what it is. Like how not to use so much gray on a darker skin. You want it open. You want to leave open space.
Right.
Because you want the tattoo to heal and be seen. And now so much grays in this and this and that, and now it's so much overworked that when you heal, you don't see it. It's just like a blob of stuff. So I think me learning how to open space on darker skin made it so much easier to open space on white skin as well.
Yeah, and it's a less is more, right? Like
that's what I think.
Yeah.
I tattoo. There's a lot of artists who want to add every little wrinkle they see or every little thing, which I know half of that's not gonna stay. So the way I tattoo is I try to put what I see and what I think it needs, so you could see what you want to see from looking at Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Like I put what I think I need, that you know when you see Jay-Z. You know, like
you know what I know, and you know.
When you look at Jay-Z, you're like, this is Jay-Z.
Yeah, no,
like,
I mean, there's no question there.
Yeah. So because of certain things that just pop out to you of like that you don't know, that you not naturally know when you see him. You know, that's what people see.
It's like those like optical illusions where your eye will like fill in the blank, or like when you read something, there's like illusions where it's like you read this thing wrong, and it's like just missing a letter. They switch them because your brain.
Or even if you like, if you could read this, you kind of, and it's like numbers put into the words, but it tells you. It's almost like that. It's almost like
your brain fills the gap.
Yes, exactly. So you're not overdoing it. You're just putting what needs to be seen, and for putting what needs to be seen, your eyes kind of tells you.
And I think this is a really good example of that. Is that you're using
actually a good example.
You're using the smoke,
so much open.
Right. You're using the skin to create the smoke, right, and to allow it to breathe and give it that open. Puff, if you will. I think it's a perfect example of that.
This is actually one of my favorite. Like people always ask, like, what's your favorite tattoo? I don't have a favorite tattoo because I've tattooed so many people, so it's like so hard. But I love how this one came out. I love the angle of it, the placement, the way it even looks. Like even the heavy dark, but then also so much open space that looks balanced, right? Like it looks balanced. It's like dark but open, so it's like it doesn't look like such a like flat piece.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, it's alive.
Yeah.
It's alive. It's alive.
And it healed. I you know what? I'm gonna need to have my clients send me a lot of healed pictures because it healed hella good too. I'd seen it heal and I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, healing has to be a big factor in that. What do you think about like all those ointments and creams that they come out with? Like, oh, heal better. Like, is that all just kind of sales shit?
I personally don't use none of them. Like I've got tattoos so much that it's like I just get tattooed and let it heal.
Right.
You know, as long as they don't. I get like a rash or like any type of reaction to it, I'm not worried for my tattoo. I just keep it clean. You know, I wash it or whatever, and then from there I let it do its own thing. But a lot of people, there's people that I know who use that. Like I have clients that come in with their own stuff. So I have a client that used the what's that shit called? The Tiger Derm, which is like it's like a tape.
Okay.
Which I don't understand how people like this shit. Because that shit, they tried it on one of my tattoos. I took that shit off like in 2 hours because it was bothering me. But basically, you clean the tattoo and you put it on the skin. You leave it on for like 3 days, and it's basically just let it heal inside this case. You could wet it. You could do anything because it's like a bandit, like a
cellophane type of thing, like the wrap after.
Yeah, it's like a clear
wrapping.
Yeah, so it's like you.
It's almost like the cellophane that they put on after you get immediately tattooed.
No, what we put on once you get a tattoo, we put an ointment and we wrap it up in plastic. That's what I like to do with my clients. The first thing I tell my clients is the way I tell my clients to take care of it is basically the same way I just said. I tell them get home, wash it really good, and then let it air dry.
Right.
Let it air dry the rest of the day. Don't wrap it up again. Don't add no ointment because now it's a tattoo. Now it's on your skin. You want it to kind of dry, and where it's like if you put in so much ointment, the ointment's not letting the ink settle in.
Yeah.
So it's like now the ointment's kind of like picking it up.
Right.
Where if like you let it dry into your skin, it's literally gonna dry to the point that it's like ashy.
Right,
So
right.
now it's on there. It's dried in. So I just feel like the whole like ointment, if you do put some maybe like 2 days later and maybe like a real thin
coat.
That's how I tell my clients for the most part. And I think with my work, that's how, because my work is so heavy in certain spots, like so pure black, that's a lot of bleeding. So you're gonna have like a blood coming out of that area for like a good few minutes. So I put a lot of ointment, I wrap it up. By the time you get home, that blood should have stopped because by that point,
Right.
your pores swells up, so it kind of stops the bleeding. So if you do wash it and you wash that or that dry blood and ointment off, you should be fine.
Yeah.
So
portrait's your lane. You go, like I said, do you go outside of that lane with things? Like, do you ever if someone comes to you and is like, hey, I want to do whatever, X, Y, and Z?
I do them. I let them know it's not gonna be like, because there's people that do that style,
Sure.
So if you do that style, you're gonna do it perfect. If I do that style, I'm not doing it perfect, but it's almost like I'm doing it on Ink Master. On Ink Master, you're gonna do a style that's not your style. You gotta do it to your best, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna do it to my best. Might not be as perfect as you want it, but what is perfect, right? Nothing. So I tried. So there's people that tattoo that, and most of my clients, they don't want perfect. Like they want it to be mine.
Yes.
They want it to be mine. They're like, I don't care how it comes out. I just know that you're gonna kill it. And I get that, and I love that. There's clients that I have that love like me freehanding. They like, yo, draw it.
That's a very old school. Like my dad has an old school tattoo, like a dragon. When he got his black belt, and he'll say it to this day, he's like, yep, all freehand. Like it's like a pride thing.
So there's a point that all I want to do is start doing freehand again. Like just to switch it up. Not portraits, of course I'll do portraits, but
Sure.
I want to do like when I do pieces, I just want to like draw you, and then just go about it. But there's not a lot of people that want like that. They want to see the stencil and they want to see the idea first. But there are clients, like I got one of my client Boris. He's actually became pretty cool friends of ours as well. I think all my clients become my friends.
Yeah, how can they not?
Yeah.
How could they not? Like again, it's a very intimate relationship that you're developing with someone.
So intimate, and then I make it even more intimate because then I'll be like, yo, let's go get a drink, and then let's go ahead and before you know I'm turning up.
Before you know, you're doing a podcast with them.
Exactly, right? A podcast. So I'm doing shit. I'm fucking wilding. I'm over here in the club, 4 a.m. My fucking client, the best experience of their life. They're like, man. I'm like, yo, tell me about it. That was fun.
So they ask you about the lane, and then you're doing that style. Does it feel kind of like, or are you kind of still immersed in it?
Oh no, I like it. I like the fact that the client trusts me. Sure. So it's kind of cool because like by them trusting me doing something that's not my lane, it's like, all right, now I gotta prove to them that I could still do it. Like I'm good enough to still do it. So I like that. I like to sometimes I'm in a portrait lane, but I like to tattoo. So it's like at this point it doesn't really matter. Like I want to do all kinds of tattoo or switch it up at times and stuff like that. Unless I really think I'm bad at it. Like if I feel like it's gonna be a shitty job, then I'd rather just pass it on. So like I like to share my clients as well. So there's people who like, if I have a client and he want to get a certain work and it's like, I know he shouldn't get it by me, I'll be like, yo, bro, go to this.
That says something though. That says something about your confidence level. And also says something about like the type of person you are, because I'm sure there are artists.
And being dumb is like,
no, but I think there are artists that are like, oh, there's an ego involved where they feel like they need to do whatever comes across their plate, and they're going to do it whether they know it's going to be great or not.
I don't even think it's an ego sometimes. I think people do it more for the money. Like this.
Sure. I think it's both.
They'd be like, why am I gonna pass that one off if that could be money in my pocket? When it's like sometimes just the passing off will give that person more respect for you, Like there's clients that I passed off to other artists and they respect me more because of that, Like
of course,
like, yo, thank you so much, because and that artist kills it, and now it's like, all right, you see, this is the reason why I tell you should go to that artist. For example, I have an artist named Max, and I tattoo a lot of Giants players, right? So, but one of the Giants players came to me recently for like an idea of a sleeve, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it because I knew I wasn't gonna do.
Let's just give you a little credit here, because I know you're not very good at receiving credit. So I'm gonna break it down for you. Here you have someone that is gonna have recognition in some way, shape, or form, right? Whether it be whoever the player was, it doesn't make a difference. He's gonna be in a locker room with other guys who are gonna see this tattoo. Your name's gonna get even more out there, I'm sure, on a sleeve, it's not going to be $4 that you're charging, right?
Yeah.
But that says something about you. And again, to say, I'm going to pass this off to someone I know who's going to kill it,
Yeah.
rather than like, again, whether it be your ego or finances that says, I need to do this thing, right? So that like, kudos to you for having that wherewithal and that check of yourself and being like, no, I'm going to pass this off to someone else.
Yeah, and it, by me passing it off, it helps because like I said, now Max did it, he killed it. It made me look right because now it's like, see, this is the reason why I made him do it and made him understand that it's like, bro, you know, I appreciate you even not trying to take it and just doing it. Now, that could also be a shitty thing in the locker room too. Because now if you do a shitty ass job, the same way that shit went up, the same way that shit go down. There's people that rather criticize you heavier before give you credit.
Rather, the old expression is, you know, an angry person, a happy person tells one person, an angry person tells fucking everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
If they're not happy with you, they're going to spread the word very quickly.
I'm sure I have like 99% of my clients happy with me, but at 1%,
it's bringing down your Google review.
Like her tattoo healed wrong or his tattoo healed a little shitty, and now he probably like tells everybody like, oh, you know, like he's not as good as he, whatever, you know. But it's like, my bad. I tried. You know, like
I did my best. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm not perfect.
But yeah, just like that. So it's like, that's one of those things where it's like, I'd rather just go to that person. And it's also, you built connection with the other artists. Like we made friends, and now he also made friends with Max and stuff like that. And it's like, the other teammates see it, so they don't just go to me. Some people might like that style.
Sure.
So now they go to him. And it goes around in a circle at the end of the day, you know, like at the end of the day, you're going to get enough that you need. If you don't share, it's kind of like, that's how like God could punish you, you know, like giving.
Yeah, no, I get it, man.
Giving and receiving should always balance each other in a way, you know, like it's like, you should never want to just get and never give. And I feel like that's where God's blessed me, where I try to balance my like, and I try to show my kids as well. Like, you know, you could always try to always help out, try to always give, and you're gonna get it back. You know, there's a way that the world works, that it's like the more you open with people, the more you even speak. Because even it doesn't have to be a given. It could be even saying hi to somebody in the morning. You know, like that person you could probably be passing by somebody who's having a shitty day. You know, who knows how much that just good morning to them or something could be like, that person acknowledged me. And that could give them a little more of a positive energy. Then something else passing there and gets a better pass. And then that ball start rolling, where it's like the energy come from saying hi or whatever it is, you know.
Oh,
like,
I get it, man. I get it.
I love even like my clients, because we get into deep conversations about their life. So now I'm also know who that person is. So for the rest of their life, I'm gonna know who that person is. Their person's gonna know who I am, you know. So it's like you build something, but you also take. So even though I tattoo them, I also stay with a piece from them, you know. So even though they have a piece of my artwork on them forever, it's like in a way I also have a piece of them, you know. It's weird, but it's how
that's very interesting. And you know, with tattoo culture, you know, I think again, it's grown and changed so much over time, right? Like it used to be like Sailor Jerry, old school, like this was for like tattoos were not for common folk, right? It was for like prisoners and junkies, and it wasn't just for everybody. And there's been a transition culturally where the tattoo has become so big and so accepted, right? But you don't think of it as from the tattoo artist perspective, or at least I never really have. We're like, yeah, I'm carrying your art, but like I'm leaving a piece of me with you. That's a very unique perspective. Do a lot of like tattoo artists feel that way? Or do you think that's something that you kind of, you know, picked up energetically, uniquely? Is it something that you kind of just always felt like that's kind of a unique perspective that they're leaving you with something?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know how I didn't pick it up like
did you read it on like a tattoo gun box? Like, no, they're leaving you a piece of them. Like,
no, that's funny because it's like, I don't know how I noticed it, but it's something that happened, you know. It's like you said, like even with the barbers, like as a kid, I always want like to be liked. Like I was always the one that everybody looked for, everybody like hanged out with. I was like the cool kid on the block. Like people would be like, oh, where's Keith and them? That's right. They didn't ask for one of my, not that to give.
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand.
I'd like to be that person that want to be the circle of everybody's thing. I want to be. So I like to talk. I like to build. I like to know. And it worked. When I started cutting hair, people come and they sit in the chair. Now while I'm talking about it, and they telling me about what they're gonna do or how was the day before, or whatever what their plan is for the day. And I like that idea that it's like, bro, I'm talking to people while I'm working. You know, there's people that work alone in certain jobs. Or there's people that, and not to other job, you know, everybody has to work, so it doesn't matter what it is. But there's people who hate their job, but
Right.
they still have to do it because they like their check. So it's like, in a way, it's almost like you want to do something where it's like you like what you do, but you're getting paid good at it. And at first, you know, I didn't get paid good at tattooing. You know, like literally, I make really good money now. But at first, there was times where I barely even made money to buy my supplies over. You know, like
Right.
I made enough to almost pay rent. And sometimes like I owe you. Thank God I was renting for my boy, me and whatever, and a few people from my neighborhood level, yeah. But you know, money wasn't being made, but I knew that it was gonna be a process where it's like, I'm gonna be nice, like this is gonna, and when I am nice, I'm gonna make money, you know, and so I got nice, and now I make money. but you know, it
I
comes with
got
the whole
nice and
thing.
now I make money.
And
That says it
you
all,
make
though.
connections, you do. It's like when you buy art. You buy art, and it's like, but it's not a piece of art on a wall. It's on your skin. You're gonna have this on you forever. So like,
In theory, you could get it removed, but
yeah, you could remove, I guess. But most likely, if you pay that money and it's that good, you're not gonna. You know, when it like, you know, back in the days, you would see like memes or whatever it is. They'd be like, "Oh, when you're 90, your tattoo's gonna look like shit," or whatever. You know, that stupid ass meme. But it's like, what's not gonna look like shit at 90? You know, everything is. It's like you're not living at 90 to look good. You're living at 90 to enjoy it. And if you even live at 90, you know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
So it's like, who cares?
Yeah, no, I agree
And
with
I
you.
think that's where tattooing has become more of a, people are just doing it because it's more of like, it means something to them. And it's like, and it's also, you know, it's also trendy and it's also in, but it's a connection where people have it, even if it's like a religious sleeve or like a style of tribal, something that means that, or even if it's a portrait, it's a meaning. It's the same reason where people buy bag. You know, sometimes the bag or shoes don't look like, some people don't like the way these shits look. I probably didn't even like the way they look at first, but they feel so good. And it's like, at this point, it's like, I don't care how they look. It like, I like to see.
I'm
these
shocked.
shits
I'm
on.
shocked you're not wearing the black chucks.
You know, it's funny. I wear black chucks every
I know
day,
you do.
but I'm in my comfiness.
Listen,
you know?
I'm glad-
Like,
I'm
I don't
glad-
wear sweatpants to work. I
Yeah,
wear
yeah.
jeans to work. But I'm like, I'm gonna be in a podcast sitting for a while. I want to have sweatpants.
I'm
on
glad.
and feel
Listen.
like I'm in my couch.
Listen, man, that's the energetic vibe I want to create here. I want people just to come
So
and
I
be
think
comfortable.
I think that is what it is. Is like, I'm glad that the tattoo world is where it's at now, because you know, like I said, we're making pretty good money, because I'm sure back in the 90s, people were probably really good artists and they're legends, but they probably wasn't making money how that people are making now. Just like people who played major leagues in the beginning were not making what they built for us. So all those artists that built this world, you know, when it was illegal, or kept the needle running when, through the time where it was like, whatever it is, you know, through the eras of not being accepted as it is now, they ran with it to a point that now, if you're doing it right and you love what you're doing, it's gonna be happy. You know, you're gonna be happy doing what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go back a little bit because I think that that's a cultural thing, right? Like that's a thing where we're not taught in school to embrace our own creativity and our own creative endeavors, you know?
we're not taught really much in school, to be honest.
I mean,
But-
you're taught some things, right? But you're not,
Yeah,
I think
but
that
they
there's,
want to-
yeah, I mean, you're put in a system that's supposed to make you a good employee, right?
yeah, exactly. Like, it makes you good to work. It makes you good to.
And then, and listen, and
you know, I
listen,
like school. Don't get me wrong. It's a good. You still build. You build.
you learn
friendship,
certain
you
things.
build things,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. But again, to someone like you who said like, well, I wasn't good at math or I wasn't good at this. And you know, you had to find your own way.
Yeah,
There
it was so
wasn't
stressful.
right.
I was
And
like, I hate school. I
right.
can't
And then
wait
you
to
get
out this shit.
older and you're like, well, like, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, how am
And
I
that's
supposed to
That's
exist?
the scariest part, right? Where it's like, this is another shit that I hate about school, right? And even this shit, like, I was pretty dumb or whatever. Not dumb, but you know, I was like not
But
smart.
see, that's the thing, right? We automatically go to, I was this, I was no, like you were just a kid that wasn't great at school. Like,
Yeah,
but then we have pass fail. You did good. You
Exactly.
got this grade. You failed, and then that becomes like an
So
identity
now-
for you.
Yeah, so not being great in school makes you feel like already a failure before you even get out of school. So at this point, you know, like, you're hearing teachers thinking like, that kid that reads and do this and get the good grades, he's gonna have a great life. What are you gonna do? And then you're like, I don't know. That start kind of building you down too. That you're like, fuck, what am I gonna do? And not to be fucked up, but a lot of those people that I thought I was gonna be doing better than me in their life, they kind of fucked up. And
Right.
I'm not. And it's like, bro, and not that I'm great, but it's like something helped. You know, something helped me, and it wasn't school. So it's like, why not? School should be something that is. I wish school was something that worked with what they believe your gift is. You know, like of course you learn your English and math or whatever the fuck that history they want to teach, but it should be a subject where, like, if you're a good artist, you should have more classes on art. I shouldn't have the same amount of art classes as a person that's doesn't care for art or doesn't or is shitty at art. So they just taking
They
it
have no
because it's a
interest.
class.
They have no interest in art.
Why can I have 4 classes of that a day? Build my art skill, lead me into artness or whatever, not art. I guess I just made up a word, but whatever, you know, and or if someone is into this subject, that should be a subject that and of course you could do extra credit or after school if they have the program for it. But that's how school should work. And not that school's gonna change the system. It's a system that's gonna go on forever the same way. But it's not, you know, and so in school and after graduating and working and not knowing what the fuck I'm doing in my life, it's kind of scary, you know.
It's very scary. It's probably
scary, bro.
You know, the majority of people are living in that existence of being like, you know, fear-based, and like you said earlier, it's just like, I gotta figure this out.
Yeah.
And that's it's depressing, it's isolating,
so depressing,
you know,
and
and
so scary, especially like when you're young and you don't even know that it's like it's kind of okay to be not know, you know, like it's now it's like it's a little thing, but back then it's a little scarier, so it's whatever. But like I said, if I knew I was gonna be a tattoo artist, I would have started straight out of high school, because I did get my high school diploma. You know, I did graduate high school, but then after that, I told my parents, like, don't expect me to go to college.
right. But and the thing is, like, you can recognize this in people at a very young age. Like in my daughter, I see the type of, like, she's very capable, but she's also 7, right? And I'm sure you see it in your kids, right? Like
we also are gonna be parents that are gonna, you know, understand things more. Like, of course, the other, like, and not to blame on my parents, because they also always gave me, you know, my parents always loved me drawing and all the things like that. But it also felt like they fell more into the system that this is how things work. You know, you go to school, you do this. Where it's like we're kind of also the parents that's like, I want them to do what they want to do. You know, that's how I think you're gonna be.
Sure,
like,
sure.
not unless it's some shitty stuff, but if you think she's aiming for what she thinks and you believe in it, you're gonna go with it, right? And I feel like that's how I am as a parent. I feel like this is the way the new generation is going to be. Like, if they think their kid are going to be more into something, I feel like we're breaking that ice where that era where it's like your kids should be like whatever they want to dream, should try to, or at least you should, as a parent, should try to make whatever they dream is, try to work on it to become true. You know, like almost. Do you watch King Richard? It's the Venus Williams, the Serena sister, the Williams. Yeah. So it's
based on the Williams sisters.
So basically, he knew what he wanted from them, and he knew what they was good at, and he made it happen. And that's kind of cool. And it's like,
but that can go 2 ways though, because then you could be putting right, and you could be putting your own hopes and dreams, and it's the classic like football player father who didn't make it, and then he puts it on his kid to do like 2 a days.
Yeah, I feel like that's more like you're pushing it onto them. That's more like if your kid, like, for example, like my son played baseball, but I tell him every time, like, if you don't like it, you don't have to go. If you don't want pro practice, you don't have to go. He likes going to practice. He likes going, but it's gonna hit, and if he's good, there's gonna hit an era, and maybe when he's 11, 12, 13, 14, I mean, who knows where he's gonna probably hate the sport, because when you're good and becomes almost like a job, because now you're going to practice all the time. Now you're doing, because now you're getting at the level where
it takes
sacrifice.
It demands more.
It demands more sacrifice. Like growing up, I always wanted to be a baseball player, but I didn't have the commitment and the sacrifice to do that. Where it's like I have a nephew now that he's really good at baseball, really good, and he's really good, amazing. But there's a sacrifice that comes in. So I'm sure there's times where he's like, I don't want to do this shit. I don't want to do this extra practice. So I get that. But if he doesn't want to do it no more, you should never. So I get that.
Yes and no, because there's also that line where you almost don't know what's good for yourself, right? Like, because you'll bail out on things way before you're supposed to, and you'll convince yourself everything under the sun that, like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done doing this. And there kind of has to be that voice of reason. Sometimes it's like, no, you have to be dedicated to. There is dedication, right? Like, and it goes to what you were saying earlier about, like, yeah, I knew maybe I wasn't making the money. I knew this, but there was a drive in you to get, once you found your thing, whether it be haircutting or tattooing, your artistic expression of yourself, there was a dedication there that, you know, was unwavering.
Yeah. Even that, it gave you a feel like when you first started tattooing, cutting hair, like, you're like, this is dope. You know, even when you wasn't getting paid, you was getting paid with people giving you compliments. So it's like, it was a different feeling from having a job where it's like you get paid because you have money, you get money, but you didn't get the like the respect and the appreciation where someone's like, yo, you did that? That's fire. And
Right.
that right there, that little bit of whatever he said,
Recognition.
recognition gives you like it gives you pointers, or it makes your body like get some type of
I get
percentage
it.
of something
get
that
it.
builds you up. You know, you're like, oh, this is a feeling that I never had before. And you
It's a
kinda want-
serotonin dopamine shot. And you're just like, boom.
yeah,
like,
you're
oh my
this is-
God.
yeah, it's
Because-
like a high. It's
well,
like a really nice fucking high that you're like, this is dope. I
Well,
could get
because
high
it's-
off life over this shit.
because it's because you know what? Because you're putting yourself into this thing and it's being recognized. So in return of that, you're being recognized for the work and effort you're putting in authentically, for an expression of who you are as a person. And when people see that and they go, like when you walk in here, you go, oh, this is fucking cool, man. Yeah, there's a shot to me that's like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, this is my expression. Right. This is who I am. So when you see that and that starts to get recognized, and then all of a sudden there starts to be compensation for that, and there starts to be recognition more and more and more. Yeah, it becomes a high or a ride. You're like, oh, I could ride this out forever.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how like even leading to become a tattoo artist is so became, you know, because it's like now it's like this is well, not now, but at that moment it's like, yo, this is what I want. Like this is what I want every day. I want everybody, like every day someone be hyped of what I did and it means something to someone. So it's cool. It's like not only I killed the piece, I got good credit for it. I got paid good for it. My family lives good off of it. You know, like I am making enough to support my family. So it's like I said before, it's all circle. It goes all around. So tattooing is, I don't know how long I'll be doing this because, you know, there's always more into life. That's another thing too. Like if you stop at one thing, you would never know. Like before I was doing this, I would have just stopped at haircut.
Or Aldo's.
Or Aldo's, you wouldn't know what else. So it's like, I love tattooing, but who knows what else is in the future? You know, you just get, sometimes it's just a thought that comes to your head and you're like, I want to do that. Or maybe like even a podcast. Like maybe I'm like, you know, I would like to do a podcast, make my own man cave. I might steal some of your ideas.
Yeah, man.
I'm be like, yo, let me get my jersey. I love that coffee thing because I'm a coffee drinker.
That's from a podcast of a buddy of mine who's a stand-up comic, and he did a podcast with a couple other comedians and they did a live show. So yeah, man. But it's a recognition of yourself. And when you can get compensated for that and you can feel that and you can, it's you being who you are, man. And I love the idea of, you know, we don't know what's next. Right. And so many times we get caught up on what's next, right? We get so focused on like, I got to do this thing next, or I got to be this person next. I have to feel this way next. And there is this, like what I'm kind of leaning into now is this idea of like, I know my long-term goals, and all I'm doing is taking the very next step of what I think I need to do towards that. And everything between now and that long-term goal is completely out of my control. I can only show up in the very moment in hopes that I can achieve my long-term goal.
Exactly.
And not being so bound to it and not being so like, and it's hard. It's hard.
Because that leads to depression too. Like even thinking about the future so much and like, even being like at a good place, like even me being a good tattoo artist or whatever and doing good for myself, you kind of stop forgetting how I appreciate the moment because now you're trying to see another picture, the bigger picture, what you're going to, and it's like you kind of sometimes got to remind yourself to be like, fuck all that and kind of like enjoy this right now. Like enjoy the fact that I'm able to do this and I have a good life and you know, and my kids are healthy, like the things that you don't really know how to enjoy or appreciate, you know, the fact that I do have electricity and food at any time my kids get hungry, because the motherfuckers get hungry all the time. Niggas eat. I'm like, fuck, you hungry? You just ate. Bitch, I haven't had breakfast yet.
You're on your fourth breakfast.
Yeah, breakfast.
I made my kid 2 Thomas English muffins today.
Yeah, bro. And he's talking about I'm hungry. Motherfucker, I haven't had coffee. Wait. You wait a little.
Take a seat. Sit on watch some Daniel Tiger and please stop it.
You see me editing this picture? But no, but you know, like I try to learn how to like embrace it all. Even my personal life, like when I'm at work and I'm like my lady said, like I'm like 2 different people. Like I am Des and I am Keith. Like I'm because at work I'm working, I'm into my job, I'm doing this. But when I'm home, I kind of want to like space away from all that and just focus on my kids, enjoying them, enjoying how fast they're growing, enjoying my family and what we do and how enjoying the world. Like
walking your kids to school. You know what I mean? I see you do that all the time. And
he talks so much in the morning.
Yeah, and listen, I do drop off too, and there are those mornings where can be chaotic, right? But it's when you're able to kind of stop and freeze and give yourself some space and
Yeah,
be like, I get to appreciate this
yeah.
too.
Because I get home pretty late sometimes, so I don't even have to be up at that time because I don't work till later. So me,
Right.
I literally I'm up like 6 hours before I even go to work. Where it's like people wake up at 6, but they go to work at like 9.
Yeah.
I don't work till like 1.
Right.
So it's like I was up from 6 for no reason, but I like to do it because that part of my life is like, first off, I like to wake up early no matter what. Even if I get home at 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning, I'm probably gonna be up. A little hangover
Right.
and a little headache, but I like to be up because I feel like I like sleeping a lot, kind of like you feel like you lose your blessings. Like people, I sometimes you wake up with a certain text that one text would, like, for example, when Mo Williams hit me up, I woke up in the morning. He didn't hit me up right away. I said, I tagged him on a book. He hit me up months later. Like, and it was the morning I woke up. I looked at my DM and it's like, oh shit, Mo Williams hit me up. And this is like 6 in the morning. That made the whole day. And that let me go about my day, energy, picking up energy, giving away energy. And I think
Yes.
that's another way. Like there's people like if you're a nagger or complainer, I don't want to be around you because that shit leads on to me. Now I'm complaining about something. I'm like,
Yeah.
why? Then
Yeah.
I start noticing it. I'm like, am I being a bitch right now? What am I complaining about? You know, like you ever complain about something and realize you like
You
whining.
catch yourself in the middle of it. You're like, what the fuck am I bitching about?
And I'm like, yeah, I can't hang out with that motherfucker no more. It's got me complaining to myself. But that shit happens. So it's like you kind of want to always give good energy and receive good energy, and it keeps going. Like,
Yeah, I do my best to not, and again, I'm not always perfect at, but I do my best to not check my phone for like the first 45 minutes of the morning.
so what I do is I turn my phone off at night, and I feel like that's probably one of the best things I do. So there's certain things I like to do that I feel like it helped me from, of course I'm still growing as a person. I'm a 35, but I still feel like a kid. Well, not body wise, I feel like 80, but in my soul, I still feel like I'm 12, and I talk to myself in my head, talk to God or whatever. And there's certain things like drinking water, warm water, and things like that help me. Turning off my phone helps you, especially that a lot of times you, like, as an artist, you kind of want to keep posting because you kind of want to keep promoting yourself.
And you want that dopamine. You want that heart to get bing,
Yeah,
bing,
you want the
bing,
likes, you
bing,
want the
bing.
comments, you want the
Yeah,
exposure, you
man,
want the
that
feeling
becomes
that people see your shit.
addicting, right?
OD. And there's times you catch yourself on your phone so fucking much, like there's times I'm on my phone and my kids are playing right in front of me, and then I realize, like, bro, why the fuck am I not playing with these niggas right here? Like, they playing with each other, motherfuckers growing. My 3 year olds, the very 3 year old,
Right.
like, bro, how the fuck you're 3 years old already? You was just born the other day. And it's fast because it's like one day they're gonna be like 18 or whatever, 15. They're not gonna want to be around me, and I'm like, yo, bro, I was stuck on that damn fucking phone. And so it's like sometimes you just gotta give yourself a little check, and that's one of the things. One of the things I do is I turn on my phone at night. I don't want to. If you gotta call me, something happened, somebody died, come on, lady. Hopefully everybody's alive till next morning. But yeah, it helps me. It helps me who I am. It helps me kind of turn off from the world besides the world that I have, which is my family and stuff like that. So it kind of like separates the problems in the world and this and my tattoo and my lifestyle and my clients and people hitting me in my DMs and people emailing me. You're like, fuck all that. I love it, but chill.
And that takes a certain amount of awareness too, right? To be able to compartmentalize your life and be like, I need to be present in this moment because it's fleeting, right?
Yeah, it's your life. It's like at the end of the day, it's like you need to, you don't realize how fast your life is passing by you,
Yeah.
And then that's the thing, it's your life. So you kind of have to like kind of break apart. And you don't want to like, I don't want to hate tattooing. It's not a job for me. It's like it's
You're so blessed that you get to do that. You're so blessed that you get to be
I'm
there.
Artist. So it's like, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's not. It's like what you're doing right now. It's like you're doing this because you're loving this. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not doing this because you didn't get forced to be like, yo, you're gonna be talking on this shit. You chose that you like the way this feels, right? You chose that you like to talk. You like to know what the fuck I'm thinking. You want me to talk to, or whatever it is that you think about it. But you wasn't forced. Your lady didn't say, yo, you better go over there and start talking.
You better get out that shit and start talking to people.
You better start talking about.
You better start doing this shit.
So it's something that you did because you start, and that's the thing. It's like I like tattooing. I love the fact that I'm drawing. I was in school drawing on the back of the page, and then turning back. Like I was that kid in school.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of cool that it's like now I'm doing it, and it's like it's taking care of me.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a beautiful circle. And things usually do come full circle with it,
Full
you
circle.
know?
And balance, bro. Balance is a big thing on everything. Like my lifestyle, sometimes I'll be drained because it's like I go to events at night, right? Like for example, last night I went to a event. I don't even know what time I got home. I was fucked up, right? But then I also got to work my sons to school, and I do it because I'm not gonna let one thing stop the other thing. I'm not gonna be like, I went out last night so I can take my son to school, because that's not how life works. You gotta, if you're gonna be dedicated to doing that, you dedicate to your son's school, and you do it. That's it. So it's like it's a way that I just do. Like I make sure that even though I went out drinking last night, I'm not gonna use the excuse of a hangover the next day. Oh, something I didn't have a hangover, but you know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna still be 100% here, 100% there, 100% there, because while I'm doing it, that's what I'm there for. Like me and my lady, sometimes I work all day. We don't talk on the phone. We'll go the whole day without even talking, because when I'm at work, I'm at work. I'm here for my client 100%. So we eat together, we do dinner, we doing whatever. You're mine basically for the day. We're talking, we build an experience. This is where I'm at for the day. I don't know nothing out there. As long as nothing went wrong at home, I'll get home, we'll talk or whatever, stuff like that. So it's just a way to learn how to kind of like enjoy everything. It helps too. It helps so much, because then when I do have off, I take my family somewhere and we enjoying that.
Yeah. Being present is something that I think a lot of people struggle with, because we're always living in a past version of ourselves, or we're hoping for that next thing, and we're hoping for that future version of ourselves. And that really does deprive you of what I think is one of the most intrinsic important things that you could have, which is that present moment, right? Yeah. And those present moments, they stand out to you, man. Like when you have that moment, like I remember, like, again, I use this as a default, but like when my daughter was born, my son too, but really my daughter, because she was my first child, right?
Yeah. It's always, and there's people like, you're gonna love them both
100%, 100%
made you who you. It's like I when I try to explain to my son, like it's like you're the one that made me a dad. Right. Like I was a dad already for the second one. I didn't know nothing. Like the world changed when you came. The world changed when that person came, and I got two. But before that one, before you, I had none. So I wasn't like it's something that it's weird, but it's like the first one is also like you learning how to be a dad with that one.
Yeah, your identity completely shifts into this new way that only a child can allow it to be, right? Like there's no other way to be a dad without having a child.
Yeah, like when me and him talk, I'm like, you helping me be a dad. Like you helping me. That's the way when we talk, you helping me trying to learn how to be a better dad and a better man, because it's like I didn't know this before you. I didn't know how you're always gonna say, yo, when I have kids, I'm gonna be a great dad, but who knows? You try to, and it's like, so when me and my kids talk, me and my oldest, because my little one, he's still 3, so he doesn't know.
Our kids are the same age, 7 and 3,
6 and 3.
Okay.
So yeah, so like the oldest is the one you have the deeper conversation with.
Talk about God, her and I. She's like, how do people not fall out of the sky if they're going to heaven? I'm like, oh man, that's a tough one. Fuck, we're getting meta in here. Like we're going deep at sometimes. Man.
That's that weak question. You start going,
how do they not fall out of heaven? That's a good question. That's a deep one. Like explaining the third eye to her, and like, the pineal gland, and just explaining life to her. And it puts you in a different, completely different existence from who you were as a person before. But when she was born, I remember walking into the room, and it was like I was waiting for them to pull back the curtain and be like, and scene. Oh, okay. Like it was so out of body. And because I was so present in that moment, there was nothing else going on that could be going on. I was having a child, but it was just, it seems so fake.
That having a child, I mean, it's not coming out of us, but that's one of the scary, like me being in that room was one of the most scariest thing, because you hear pregnancies going wrong, and you be like, oh, fuck it. You hope everything goes right.
Sure.
And that's such the fact that you're there and you can't do nothing is so scary. It's such a like.
I asked, I was like, can I look? He's like, no, because you'll pass out, and then if you pass out,
I was looking, I was like, man, push! I was having her push so much. By the time she was done, I had to take a shit. I was like, I gotta take a shit. And like, I was pushing harder than you.
I don't listen. Out of everything that you're concerned about being offensive to, saying you were pushing as hard as her is going to be the one that people are going to be most offended by.
How dare you say?
How dare you say you were pushing more than your wife during labor? That is offensive. But it does. It changes who you are as a person. It changes the way you think, and again, it gives you this new relationship with life where you get to see the world all over again through this child's eyes.
And even like that, like, I mean, not to compare the two, but that feeling of having a child, that like restart, that you're like, I gotta be the shit now. I gotta be a better man, because at the end of the day, he's gonna be looking up to me. Like, I have people looking up to me. You also get a good energy where it's like things are coming. Like, it's a weird, but you like, I'm gonna build the best means of who I could be.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's like you make your life into a video game where it's like, I'm gonna try. The way people play to get to another level is the way you should play with your life, right? So that feeling where it's like when I first was getting acknowledged for tattooing or cutting hair, doing design, like, oh, that's fire, shit like that. That feeling, that little boost of energy was the same kind of boost of energy when you get a kid. It's almost like a refreshness of life. Like, it's like, oh, this is a new chapter of the book of my life. And it's like,
and then they give you like acknowledgement of that, right? Like, whether it be like the dumbest thing, but like
pee
that, like a little right, they pee on you, a little, like a little thumbs up. Like, someone give me like a little thumbs up, and I'm like, oh. Like, me and my daughter have a handshake, and it's like,
yeah, me and my son too.
like, oh, you're like, or just like the random, like, oh, I love you, Dad. Like, like,
I seen a post today on Instagram. I'm always on Instagram, shit. That I seen a post where it's like some girl tells her dad, like, I love you, Dad. And he's like, I love you too. She's like, but I love Mom more. And it was like, that was mad cute, because it was like, you know, you always gonna love your mom more. So it was cool that she said it. She was so honest. She was like, okay.
Yeah, no, listen, and there's a beauty to that innocence, and there's a beauty
like
to that
moment. Like, oh, she said, I love you. She loves me. And then she was like, oh, I love Mom more. He's like, oh. It's like, all right, thanks.
Yeah, man, it's a balance, and I think that, you know, from when we've we've been trying to put this thing together for I don't know how long, but
a long time,
and we've been saying like, and I was like, no, it's gonna, when it happens, it's gonna happen, it's gonna be right.
Yeah, I was fucking with you about
no, I know that, but I'm just saying, like, and again, it goes.
I feel like everything happens at the right time for the right reason. So I was just, and honestly, I think it was perfect, because I was in Jamaica, this was going on, so it was like, it was perfect that it happened today. I had nothing to do.
Right.
Like, I was like,
and we got the man Peter Pabon in here, man, fucking documenting this shit, man. I mean, that's awesome, man. But yeah, man, it's again, we kind of focus on so much of creating, you know, but sometimes things are just not in our control, and we just have to allow things to just play out as they're going to. And and like, from when we first met, and we were, you know, we've been talking ever since, is just like, there was this energetic thing that was like, oh man, like, this dude gets it. Like, he gets it. Like, you know, and I think that in the world of tattooing, you have it?
I was so excited. I was like, live, you about to
but like, there's this thing in like culture, like, not so much now, but like with tattoos and the way, you know, like, you joked around when you came in. I was like, oh, what do you do for you? Like, oh, I sell drugs. I was like, and your wife was like, come on, don't do that. It was like, but like, that's a stigma that people are like, oh, like, you know, like, oh, that guy, you know, he's got tattoos on his head. He thinks this way. He's this type of person. And it's just like, when you have conversations with someone and you realize like the depth of a person, or you realize like the expression of who they are, it's just like, oh, you're just me in like a different body, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like you everybody, we all can relate. Like, you know, you always feel like, for example, like, there's people who meet me and they think like, I'm so serious, I guess, because I guess I have like a serious face. But then it's like, bro, are you kidding? Do you not know me? Like, I'm a clown. I'm like, when I love to play around. I'm like, my kids don't even take me serious.
Right.
Like, you got to clean up. They were like,
like, damn. That was my full conversation this morning with too. I was like, clean up this. It's like, okay.
But it's like, I always gotta be the bad cop. You always gotta be the good cop. I'm like, I try to be the bad cop. This shit don't work.
They don't take me serious. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, they're like, yeah, throw me in jail. I'm like, fuck.
Damn it.
Yeah. So it's like, but you know, and then when you relate, then you be like, oh shit, me too. And then that's exactly how it builds. That's how it builds a client. That's how it built with people. Because another thing I have like a gift to gabs. So I have the gift to gabs where it's like, even outside of work, I meet people, and then it's like, I build friendship and bonds that it's like, and it like, for example, this guy has no tattoos.
Right.
He could care less of the fact that I'm a tattoo artist. You know? Like, it doesn't have no hate.
He's not, but that's why he's like in your life, right? Is just like this check of like,
about tattoo, I'll block his ass.
right? Like, but I'm saying like it's like that check of like who you are. It's like I don't give a fuck that you're a tattoo artist. Like, I'm not your friend because you're a great tattoo artist. I'm your friend because of who you are, right? And you just happen to be a fucking great tattoo artist. I really don't give a shit because I don't even have any tattoos, right?
Yeah.
So that there's an authenticity there to the relationship that's not superficial or surface level or take, right? There is a give and a take, and the give is like, hey, I keep you in check, and you keep me in check.
That's exactly what exactly who we are. Like we keep each other in check. We text each other every morning about how we're gonna do about our day. We always say like right now he has I think he's reading like his scene. He does gay porn, so he's reading his scene on some shit there.
No, man, but you need those people, and like you said, you don't want to be around people that are gonna like take the fucking air out of your balloon. You know what I mean? Like you don't want that. That's not how you grow, right? You want to keep people around you that are going to keep you an honest check.
Also want to grow like themselves. Yeah. You know, like there's a lot of people who's comfortable in their like where they're at. And that's fine for you. But sometimes that's not fine for me. Cause it's almost like it's basically like there's people that's like okay to going in and doing it's like I don't want the repeat life. Like even traveling, like I seen someone was talking about like a billionaire. Of course, I'm not a billionaire, but it was like a billionaire, and he was talking about like how he's, you know, people tell him like his kids are gonna be kind of weird because they don't go to public school, whatever. He's like, yeah, they don't go to public school, but they've been in 19 countries in this year,
right?
And it's like you see, like that's what's wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's experience, that's schooling, because you're learning. They're learning the culture, the lifestyle of 19 different countries, of whatever it was. You know
right, whatever the number is.
Like there's people that are broke. There's good broke and there's dumb broke, right? Like I have coming from Chicago type of friend. I have friends that don't have no money, but they travel the world. Right. So even though they don't have money, the way they spending money is they experience.
They're rich in experience,
building experience, and at the end of the day, you're gonna die. We all are, right? So it's like. Those are things that you're gonna love and enjoy forever. Where it's like you could be broke, smart broke, and enjoy the world, or you could be dumb broke and just enjoy a nice pair of sneakers that left you broke.
Right.
And it's like, and then what you gonna wear on the block?
Right.
Like, I'd rather you spend the $2,000 you just spend on the sneakers or whatever the fuck, and been to another place in the world and felt and understood how they live and this and that, and then come back and be like, yeah, I need to work again because I'm fucked up. Over just buying the shit to impress the next person on the block. They ain't doing shit. And it's like, bro, like your set of mind is not where mine is. And not that we all have to have money, but it's like I like what that person that don't have money that just came from like
wherever
another person, not just ate frog because that's what that culture does. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's
like that's kind of dope.
Yeah.
Where it's like I wouldn't mind being around that person because now that person could tell me a story like, yo, but I was in this place, this is it, and that's a good vibe. But it's like. And then it's a person that's gonna be like, I went to a club with the fire out, but all these motherfuckers was hating.
Right.
I don't want another person looking at my outfit and hating, because you know what? That's why I wear black hoodie and like pants, because it's like I don't want you to think that like I need a nice outfit to get your attention. Like you're gonna like me if you like me because of who I am, not because of what I'm wearing, not because of what I'm doing, not because of I tat. That's why sometimes I don't even like to bring up that I'm a tattoo artist.
Right.
I wait till like, because it's like now it becomes like I'm a tattoo artist. Now you're looking at me different.
It's the like, dynamic shifts.
Yeah.
The dynamic becomes different.
Like this, I remember when a cop car pulled me over one time, right? They put DT pulled me. This one I was working in the Bronx, in a tattoo shop in the Bronx. So I get in a cab and I'm driving and I'm looking in the cab. And the cab is like looking through the mirror. So, you know, I'm always aware of my awareness. So I look through the mirror too. See, so I look back. And when I guess once I look back, they pulled the cop car.
Yeah, right.
So now they pulled me over. And I'm sure he probably seen tattoos all over my head or whatever. So he was like, this motherfucker, whatever. They started searching me and they was like, oh, where do you come from? So I told them. And I knew that they knew where I was coming from. Like I knew that they was following me from the beginning.
Right.
Like it's not, so I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you the whole thing. So they was like, what are you doing coming from over there? So I was like, I work there. I'm a tattoo artist. At that time, oh, you're a tattoo artist. Good. I was looking to get tattooed. I'll tattoo you, motherfucker. But it's like that quick, something could change once they hear you're a tattoo artist or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like it
becomes a take.
It's like, oh, motherfucker, he's like, yeah, you got, man, I've been looking to get tattoo. We work there. Maybe I should walk in. I was like, all right, motherfucker, yeah, walk in, bum in his face. Don't pull me over again, bitch. crazy. But it's like 1 minute I was just a drug dealer, hood nigga from the block.
Right.
The next minute now you're like, I get why you got the tattoos. You're a tattoo artist. Oh, that's fine.
Right.
Like, damn, bro. But I'm not even mad at it because
there's an
everybody's
ignorance
judgmental
there.
sometimes,
Right. There's
you
an
know, like,
ignorance there. That's
sometimes-
all.
Like I was telling somebody,
Their job is to be judgmental.
exactly.
Like,
they
and
gotta
that's
look
not
at me and
disrespect.
assume
Listen, my dad's a
because of how I
retired
look.
cop,
Yeah.
right? So there is something there where they go, oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
he fits this description of this
Exactly.
thing. That doesn't mean that's always true. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that's not true sometimes, right? So their job,
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't justified, but their job in some cases is to be judgmental,
Mhm.
right? Their livelihood is
Yeah.
based on being
Yeah, I wasn't so
judgmental.
mad about it. I was just,
Right. No,
but it just
I
gave
know.
me the idea of how fast
Things
it
can
could
change.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't. I know it. I know at the end of the day, but I look at me sometimes and I'm like, yeah, I see it. Like, you ever
I
walk
see
into CVS and see that big screen and see yourself walking in, like, damn, I kind of do look kind of fucking scary. Like I get it. Like, I be walking in, my eyes look a little dark, especially when I smoke weed. I'm already looking like, well, like you crash into me, I might fuck you up. I might not because I didn't even notice I'm high, but I look like that, you know, like you look
Right.
at something, you're like, damn, I look fucking like I'm gonna fuck somebody up. We'll take something from you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it.
I look like I might steal something
Yeah.
here. The security guard just following you around.
Yeah, like you look in the mirror in them TVs and you realize what people see, and you're like, all right. So I get it.
Yeah.
And especially cops, like they get this is their job.
Yeah. Listen, it's not an easy existence for anybody, right? And we're all kind of, I think I'd like to think that for the most part we're all doing our best in whatever we're doing, and showing up the way we can, and I think that's a huge part of it is again the authenticity and people wanting to be seen and wanting to be heard and wanting to express themselves. And I think that when you could do that as a career and you could do that and take away so much, I think that that's a really key part of it, is like not just the taking, but the giving, right?
Yeah.
And then in that giving, you're receiving, you know. And I think that that's something that's unique, man. I think that's unique to everybody, and I think that's something that we all value intrinsically. And when you can come across someone like a tattoo artist who's whatever number you are, right? It ranks
like top 10.
Okay, let's go with that. Like number 3, I don't know. You know, that's a huge takeaway, man. And I give you a lot of props for that, man. And more so like following who you are, you know, following who you are as a person and being like, listen, this is who I am authentically. And I always admire people who show up as their authentic selves, because that's a rarity in these days.
Yeah. It's definitely like a dying trend. Like, it's hard to like. So I like my oldest, I'm going back to my kids, but he has like an old school mentality at times.
My daughter too. My daughter too. She's an old soul.
He has like an old soul at times, and I'm like, I kind of want you to keep that for as long as you can. Hopefully, you keep it long enough that it's a habit that you have. Like, there's a lot of things that I do that I picked up from my dad and my mom, and now I'm like, oh, it's crazy how these things help me who I am now. Like, even like right now, like this whole like enjoying the moment, and no one does it more than my dad. No one just enjoys the moment. We used to get on everyone. I used to go with him to work and everything. He says good morning to every person he passed by. He thinks on a train. And now the bus drivers know who he is. They have and it's like these little things. These are things that money can't give. These little meetings. You see the same bus driver every morning, and you get, or he'll buy a coffee for like the guy who sells the newspaper by the 4 train, you know. And these are like things that's like, God forbid, but whatever. But when people are gone, you know, not hopefully no one that you'll be like, yo, that person, these things, like that was, he never had to buy a coffee for the guy at the selling the or whatever. Oh, he used to give them sternos too, because the guy, you know, he's selling newspapers, is freezing. You get them sternos, they stay a little hot. He's the person that he gives. My dad is a huge giver. He wants to help, and who he is, people. It doesn't really exist much no more, you know, like it's a dying thing, but that's how I want to be. I want to be such a person that helps.
Well, you are that person. You are that person already. Yeah.
So, you know, that just being that, you know, it's so rewarding in a way that money can't reward, you know, and it makes me who I am, and I'm glad, and I'm hoping that I can pass that on with my kids, and then at least, you know, even if it's a dying trend or whatever, still some people still have it, you know, even if the percentage go, we still could keep it alive somehow.
Yeah, listen, man, you will, you know, you will pass it on to your kid, and your kid will embody that because they see it. They see you giving, right? And you express it.
Like, yo, what's up? You trying to be a tattoo artist? Nah. I was like, damn it, I'm trying to pass this shit over in case I open up a shop, you know.
Oh, pass along your dynasty.
Shit, I'll try at least.
Dude, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you,
This
bro.
was fucking awesome. I look
Yeah.
forward to more of these
For
and
sure.
and just continue the conversation. Because again, having those people in your life that you say, I want that guy around. I want
Yeah,
those
yeah.
conversations, and
Always.
it helps us elevate each other. So I appreciate you showing up in the world the way you do.
Yeah.
I appreciate your work that you do. It really is. I know you don't receive compliments well,
Yeah.
but I think that's part of why it's so great. The work is just above and beyond. So
Thank
again,
you, bro.
thank you so
I
much,
appreciate
man,
it so much, man.
for coming on. And
Yeah, thank you
this
for
is
having
rad.
me, man. I know this was a long time coming, and we went back and forth, but it was meant to be. You know, I'm glad it. You know, I went in because actually I wasn't even going that day. My lady was taking care of it, but I was like, you know what, let's go with you so we could discuss how we're gonna do whatever the car shit, right? And then it led to meeting you, and now fucking here. So that was good. That's God's way to put people in people's, right side by side, making things happen. So I'm glad it worked out. This was cool. The next one we try to do, hopefully I could bring a machine. Maybe do a little something
Listen,
cool on you.
I'm in, man. I'm down. So we'll set that up. Where can people connect with you? Where can people see your work? How can people get tattooed from you? What's that look like?
So to go, you can always catch me on Instagram at, I believe it's Keith Hernandez.
He doesn't even know his own Instagram.
It's a dot. It's a dot. I'm sure. Keith Hernandez .nyc.
I love that. Yeah, every single person I was like, Keith Hernandez, like the Met. I'm like, no, not the Met.
Yeah,
I'm like, no.
So that's another reason why I go by Des, which is like Keith Hernandez. It's just
right.
Because it's like, I make it disappointment when it's like, oh, Keith Hernandez. Yeah, like, no, not that guy.
I wasn't disappointed.
Not that guy. So it's almost like in the new Space Jam movie. So he's like, we found Michael Jordan.
Right.
And it's like Michael B. Jordan.
Right.
So it's almost like that. But yeah, you can always follow me on Instagram at keithhernandez.nyc. To book, as of right now, I'm booked about 4 months in advance. But you email, the link is on the bio of my Instagram. So you click in it, you set it up, you reach out, you send some ideas of what you're looking to get done. You have a lot of assistants working on it constantly. The shop has assistants at all time working. It's about 24 artists. So we're pretty busy. But for the most part, people, once they book in through the email, 2 or 3 months later, they're inside. So it's pretty cool.
I appreciate it, man. And I look forward to future conversations. And yeah, man, this is awesome. Thanks, dude.
Man, swing by the shop too, once you could see check out the city shop. We have 2 shops, but I'm located in I'm located in either one, depending on when it works. But for the most part, I'm on the one on 62 Grand Street.
All right, we'll set something up.
Yeah, just swing by.
Sounds good, dude.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
You already know.